Spurs fan.
Yeah.
We'll talk about League Cup maybe a little bit later.
Do we have to?
We will, because I thought it was absolutely ridiculous, but we will get to that.
Yeah.
But the window for Tottenham Hotspur, obviously the big headline is losing Harry Kane.
Yep.
So I'm asking you the same question I'm going to ask everyone tonight. How do you rate your team's window? What would you like to see them do over the next 24 hours?
At the moment, I'm looking around a 7, 8 out of 10 for Spurs. I think it's been great. For me, James Maddison, along with James Ward-Prowse, which we will talk about with the England squad, is one of the signings of the summer, for sure. When you're getting rid of Winks for, 10 million, you're getting him for 40, I think it was. You're looking at about 30 million that you've actually spent out on James Maddison. He's been sensational so far. You've obviously signed Porro and Kulusevski on a permanent, which was always going to happen, which is great for me. Van der Ven, again, looks great in centre-half. Full of speed, and that's what we need at the back. You've got Romero, who is going to read the game, but Van der Ven looks like a good sign-in. Needed to sort the goalkeeper situation out. Vicario didn't know much about before he came to the football club, I'm going to be honest, but I think he's looking solid. At the time, I would have preferred David Raya. I thought he was the one that I wanted to come in. It was too much. Losing Kane, it's always going to hurt a football club. Of course it is. But if you can get goals from elsewhere, I think this has been a solid transfer window. I'm not going to give it all we've won the transfer window. I'm not going to say that. But what we need...
You can't lose Harry Kane and be that happy, though.
No, but... I think we need another forward, of course. You're never going to replace 30 goals of last season, or at least 25 a season with Harry Kane, and he's flying already at Bayern Munich. I think he's gone with all Spurs supporters' blessings, of course. They've just got rid of Dane Scarlett as well on loan to Ipswich Town, my former club. So for me, that shows there may be something brewing in terms of a forward player coming in. Whether that's Brennan Johnson, there's a lot of links there, a lot of rumours there. I know Conor Gallagher's being linked as well. Do we need Conor Gallagher as much as a Brennan Johnson? Probably not. But I want a number 9. Whether they're looking at Brennan Johnson to potentially move into a number 9, I don't know. But at the moment, Dane Scarlett was the backup to Richarlison. So Richarlison, we know he's not scoring goals, so you need someone else. So the next few hours, really, that we've got, next day or so, I'd like to see 1 or 2 incomings and definitely a forward.
I think our clubs are in similar positions in a way. I know Manchester United have to take over. I think that's really held them back in this transfer window. You can't be disappointed, I don't think, too much with the players that they've signed. They needed a new goalkeeper for a while, got Andre Onana. I think Mason Mount, obviously, is at a low point in his career. Would like to see more of him in a Manchester United shirt, obviously hit by injury. But we know what potential and talent is there if he can get to his best. You can call that a big if, but Manchester United have taken the plunge, spent a decent amount of money on Mason Mount. That's the kind of transfer that really has to come good. But also Rasmus Højlund, 72 million, I think it was. Pretty unknown striker from Atalanta. High potential for that much, hoping that he can deliver over the long run. So I can't really be disappointed with that. But I think when I say both of our clubs are in the same position, Tottenham could have a mass exodus over the next 24 hours. Manchester United need a max exodus over the next 24 hours that they're unlikely to get because of the salaries that their players are on. Whereas I think, the likes of Tanguy and Ndombele, for example, maybe Højbjerg as well, players like that, Sergio Reguilon, who's been linked with a loan to Manchester United, you'll probably get those out of the football club tomorrow. And by saving money on their wages, maybe Tottenham can bring in 1 or 2 more. So I'm not surprised you're in a slightly happier place than I am right now, because it looks like Man United
I could be happier.
Stuck.
I could be happier. 7, 8 out of 10. I'd like a 9 out of 10. And look, I'm happy for the start of the season as well. And all the signings seem to be playing well. So apart from the League Cup, which we have to forget about, we'll discuss that, of course. I'm not going to back and draw the team for that. I'm not one of those supporters. But in terms of Manchester United and Rasmus Højlund, are you concerned, because you said there's a lot of hope, there's a lot of potential, are you concerned that there's now too much hope being brought among basically a young player that's unproven? He's not an out-and-out goal scorer, but there's a lot of hope saying when he's back, when he's fit, this is the key.
I think the pressure on him shouldn't be too high, because it's not like a player that's coming with such a huge reputation. But also I think there's a pressure taken off of him because Manchester United have so many attacking players. So it's one of those where it's like, do you know what? If he's not playing that bad, I get it. I know a lot of people out there don't rate Martial, but you've got him as a forward in the squad. You've got Marcus Rashford, who hasn't impressed, as a number 9. I mean, so that those two and maybe a lack of form would put pressure on Højlund. But in terms of him needing to play every game, needing to deliver every game, I don't think he's being brought in like that. And I think that will kind of take the pressure off of him. Obviously, out wide, Manchester United have quite a few options as well. Yeah. So I think in that area of the pitch, they're well stocked.
It does allow Rashford as well to play on the left. I know he did recently with Martial playing up front, but it allows him to constantly, because he started that number 9 role, didn't he? And he's just not effective up there. I don't think he's a number 9 player. I don't think he ever will be. No. He's effective from the left. Even when you put him on the right, he's not as effective as he is on the left. And I mean, don't forget Johnny Evans. You signed Johnny Evans as well from Leicester on free transfer. You know what? And like, I joke about that, but you need players like that. I don't know if he's signed permanent for the season. I'm not too sure on that situation. But you need players like that in and around the changing room. That if going to be way down the pecking order, we know that. But if there's a few injuries in the centre half, he can come in and fill a void.
I'm delighted to hear that. Yeah, listen, I think Manchester United, again, I find it hard to be overly critical because it's become more and more apparent, I think, this summer that the ownership group really is holding the club back in terms of its ambitions, but also previous decisions that have been made over big contracts and the length of those contracts being handed out is now come back to bite Manchester United. So in a way, a club even as wealthy as Manchester United, which has a huge revenue, huge fan base, can't really go out and do the things that it wants to do in the transfer window. Slash, if you look at Chelsea, Man United just don't have the owners that are prepared to burn up the rule book and go out and spend and spend and spend.
So who else comes in for Manchester United this window? Who do you want to see in the next day?
I really want to see someone that can play alongside Casemiro of quality. I don't expect this to happen at Manchester United over the next 24 hours. It looks like all we're doing is getting out there to try and fight some fires in terms of injury cover. Yeah. And if that is to be what it is, then it's pressure on Christian Eriksen, who's probably going to have to play a little bit deeper. You know, we want Sofiane Amrabat. Clearly, he wants to come to the club. The offer that I saw reported of £1 million up front and then an extra £1 million with a break clause in between the two payments, you know, to Fiorentina for one of their key players sounds like absolute...
If you're Fiorentina, you're saying, I'm not doing business with you anymore.
It's nonsense.
It's an embarrassing offer.
I'll be honest, if you're Sofiane Amrabat, you're not thinking, does this club really want me? To send an offer like that, it's hysterical. So, I mean, and that's what I mean. I think it will affect Manchester United's season, how their window has been. But I don't think it means they're going to have a terrible season. I just think we can't expect much more than happened last year. So... Listen, I would bite your arm off right now if Man United won a League Cup, got in the top 4 or 5, whatever they need to get into the Champions League next season.
Really?
I would take that right now.
But that's not progression, though.
No, it isn't. But like I said, I think the ownership, the takeover, everything that's going on, you know, in the hierarchy of the club, that is holding the team back. So
that's hurting Manchester United, that, in the background. It's absolutely hurting them.
Yeah.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.